Hi everyone. This is a second video about a workshop that I've done in January 2024 related to the creations of Desmos activity using computation layer. So you can follow the links below the video to find my activity page, which is shown here, or also the first video that I've done explaining the first free screen, how I use the computation layer to connect components in the first free screen. You can check that video. And now I continue to explain other screen in my same set of activity here. So just briefly mentioned here in the first video, I talk about how to connect the table and the graph. In the first free screen, you can see that you can input some value in the first table. And in this preview window, you can see the effect. And these values are also connected to another graphing area in the next page, okay, or also another table as well. And now I continue to talk about how we can use this approach, okay, to create other kind of tasks in the same area. Okay, now I go to edit and copy and edit, okay, my file here so that we have another copy and also see the editing mode. You may also do so by copying my activity, and at the same time, you can also try the editing as well. Now, so remember that we can use the computation layer, put the script there, okay, to relate different components on the same screen. And in doing so, here in the fourth screen, I try to do the same thing by connecting the table and with the graph. Okay, so this is a graph area. If you click inside, okay, you can find the list, which is actually a dummy. Okay, the actual values of the list A and B is defined by the table in the same screen. Let's see, we also have a point here. Okay, now let's try to close it. And now go to the script area using the icon. And then you can find that actually the list A and B in the graphing area is defined by another table, which is called table exponent, because we're talking about exponential graph. Okay, so you can check it here. This is the table exponent. And in this area, the student can input some X and Y value. The first few X values are already set, okay? So if you look at the preview, you'll find the students will first enter the Y value according to the given X value, and also according to this relation that we specify in the table. And apart from the first four values, they can also create some other value they can think of. For example, here, if X is -1, then the Y value should be 1/2. And go on, all right? They can provide more if they like. For the first few value here, it should be 1, 2, 4, and then 8, okay? So all these are shown on the screen because anything you input in the table will also be shown on the screen here. And let's see how it works. So I close the review. Okay. Remember that basically the values in the tables are now input here, right, from the list A and B. That's why you can see the point plotted there. I add one more question using the box here to estimate the values of X for 2 to the power X equal to 5. That means in the graphing area, the students may try to think about, okay, how to get the values of X so that the value of Y will be equal to 5, okay? So if they think that there's a curve, right? So maybe we now go on to enter the values again once more. So if they imagine that there's a curve, right, joining this point, then there should be somewhere here. So I add this question in the screen in order to encourage them to make a guess of the X value. Okay. So the X value may be, let's say, according to the values guessed by the student, it may be something like 2.5, for example. Okay. And this value will be entered in the graph as well, okay, separately. So let's clear this line And then you can now see that a green point is added based on the estimated value by the student in this box. Okay, so if they submit it, then there will be a point enter on the graph as well to indicate the guess. So how is this done? Now, note that we have a box here, which is corresponding to math responses, and I call it guess, okay? So in the script area, let's check again. Okay, the value from the box, which I label as guess, okay, provide a numerical value, okay? So you can check the list here about numerical value. I think it's come from the guess test box, okay? And so this one will become a value C in the graph area. I just create a number. So if you go back to the graph, inside the graph, you find that there's a value C and a point Q. I've defined by C, and then the Y value is 5. Now, but this value of C will be changed by the student or the user, right? Depends on the value they enter in the box. So that is how the things are connected, right, in this graph. So, and this is another example how I use the connection among different components in the screen to create a task. And now, actually, the main task in this screen is about using a table, right, to create a value and the points on the graph. But at the same time, I would like you to know that in another screen, I provide a quick example to do almost the same thing. Because within this graphing calculator component, actually you can directly enter a table, okay, to also let the student continue to edit. These are all provided by the graphing table, the graphing calculator. So if I create a blank screen here, okay, that means you can either choose this component of a full screen graphing calculator. In doing so, then you can add your instruction or add a table, okay? And in this table, the student are also able to enter the value, okay, according to maybe the equation you specify. And so if you go to the preview mode, this table and the graph are all displayed on the screen, okay? So that can be a very simple way for you to produce a table and invite the student to enter it. So if you compare these two tasks, on one hand, you can create a graphing calculator, whole screen graphing calculator, including a table, or you can separate it into different components. So just like in this case that I've demonstrated, you have a table component and a graph component, but then you have to use the script, okay, the computation in the script to connect the two components. So you can decide which method is better in individual tasks, right? I think either one have its own advantage, right? So this may depend on what you want, right? Or how far you would like to control the input from the student, right? And for discussions later on. So these are just two ways that you can create a simple examples of graph and tables. Okay, apart from these two pages, I also include find and at the end another page, which also actually have a table and also a graph interrelated, okay, by the script. So you can see you can check it from the review. You will find that we also have a table here for the student to enter the value. And this is an example where the students may observe some point. So this is a movable point, the green point, okay, according to the instructions. So we would like to generate some point Q so that the slope of PQ is equal to 1/2. Right? If the student find some points like this, they can record it, right, by manually input the values there. Right? So they can have more entries. Okay, for example, this is another point that satisfies the condition. You can also move to this direction and check that. Okay, this is also another point. You can see the slope is indicated here. Right? If they can get it correct, then this will be another point for them to record. Okay. And similar to the previous pages, you will find that whatever they enter in the table, these are also shown and recorded in the graph. Okay. So this can be another activity for them to input values and interact between the two components in order to create some point for observations. Okay, and so that is another example. Compare with the previous one using the graph and tables. And this one I put it at the end because it is also connected to two other activity I'm going to describe in the following video. All right, and which is about capturing points. The major difference is that in the final slide, and the capturing points activity is done through the table, okay, by the student. But in this page 7 and page 8, I'll explain later in another video how we can use another command to capture the points automatically without using a table. Okay, stay tuned for another video. Please check my links below. Okay, and see you later.